General quarters, all hands man your battle stations.
Broadcasting live on WNN 1470 AM, 95.3 FM, iHeartRadio, and the World Wide Web. This is Make America Think Again with your Google Blacklisted host, Tom Trento.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. No, Will Robinson. Danger.
Yeah. So you gonna open?
Good morning, everybody. I'm happy to open.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm like a wind-up doll.
Yeah,
It's just like, hey, dude, go for it. Good morning, everybody. Today is Monday. Happy Monday. It's November 23rd. This is the week of Thanksgiving. And, we should give thanks every single day for everything we have, for living in a free country, and for our families and everything else that we're so thankful for. But we have a special day that is Thursday, of course, where we're going to celebrate Thanksgiving as a country. And we are on, for those that aren't aware, we are on WWNN iHeartRadio, 1470 AM, 96.9 FM, and 95.3 FM. And it's so good to be back because this is the Tom Trento Hour, and I'm Susie Gold, and we have a lot to talk about. There was a lot that happened over the weekend, and what we are doing is we are going to help our audience every day, every morning from 9 to 10 to help make America think again, because we truly are in a spiritual battle for America. And this isn't for our politicians to solve. This is for us as a people to solve. So we all need to be knowledgeable, educated, and be out there voicing our opinions and making sure that our opinions are heard, because the politicians work for us. We don't work for them, and we need to guide our country. So we're here to educate you, become knowledgeable so that you can make the right decisions, and to help stand up for what is right and good regarding America and our Constitution. So I would like to now toss it over to here's Tommy.
Right. I don't think you know this, Mark. Can you hear me in there? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
See?
Say again?
Can you hear me?
Yes. What?
All right. And I think we may even have Mary kind of floating around in the cloud today. I don't think you guys know this, because I didn't know this. I found out this morning. Our esteemed Susie Gold left here Friday.
Yeah.
And got in a car crash on I-95.
Yeah.
No way.
It was really scary, very scary. You know what
didn't know
I
that.
really feel
didn't know
though? I believe that God is in everything and really spared me. And I think that by my being there, I spared other people, because I have a very quick reaction time. And I saw, as I was driving on I-95, I wasn't in the left lane. I was in the lane right next to that. And I saw out of the corner of my eye a car go out of control. So when they say be a defensive driver, that's what they're talking about. You may be safe and you may be okay. But I saw out of the corner of my eye this car that went out of control, and it was spinning a 360, 360, 360. And I said that I knew that car was going to end up in my lane. And I'm going fast. So of course I start slowing down. Miraculously, I went somehow, car ended up in my lane right in front of me. I went around it and then back into my lane, and a car must have been following me, and I can't really figure out how that happened, but he was behind me, followed me, and then hit me in the back. But the great news is that, considering that huge highway, all the trucks, all the cars, all the possibilities that could have occurred, and everybody walked out and they were absolutely fine. Nobody was hurt. And I really have to really thank the fire department, the police department. They were out. I called 911 immediately, and they were there it seemed like minutes, closed the entire highway, cleaned it up, got all the debris, because there was a ton of debris. That car that was in front of me was totaled. And there was debris everywhere, cleaned it up. First thing they did, got out. Everybody okay? Everybody okay? Because after all, cars could be fixed. But as long as we're okay,
Yeah, that is pretty amazing on I-95. Was it wet? What was the?
So it was just a drizzle. And they say, even if there's a drizzle and you don't have great tires, like check your tread on your tires, because as long as those tires are good, they'll maintain a grip. But, even in a drizzle, the sun was out, but it was definitely a drizzle. And I really felt bad for this poor kid. It's just his car went out of control. And, I mean, it's just one of
And what
those
did he
things that
say?
happens.
You wound up talking to the guy that went out of control, young guy in his
Yeah.
20s. What did he say?
Yeah. He goes, whenever it even drizzles, my car goes out of control. And,
Right.
I want to tell him, what the heck are you driving your car? But he won't be driving that car anymore.
Right.
So it was absolutely
You
totaled.
dodged the
And I
bullet
got a
for
new
sure.
car. My car's only 2 months old.
Yeah.
So, but it's got a little, bang up, and it'll get fixed. And
Yeah,
I
well,
thank
your car's
God.
like a $10,000 bang up.
Yeah,
So-
but there was a Mustang that went into me, and that thing was made out of iron. It was a 2010 Mustang. It
Steelmobile.
barely had a dent. My car, I mean, they say, what is there, a cushion, a
bumper
spring
cushion,
or something? It's just basically the cover. And the most important thing is that everybody was okay.
So no
It was a little
defund,
scary,
so no defund the police movement on your end, huh?
Yeah, and thank God for
No, you're
for
very,
our
very
first
fortunate
responders.
because once cars start spinning,
It's out of control.
it's like a billiard ball just popping all over and it
Yeah.
hits the other balls and the after effect when the car starts slowing down, they run into car. I mean, you're very, very fortunate that you got out of that.
Yes, yeah.
But
and-
we're so happy,
Yeah.
Suzi Gold, that you're here.
Yes,
And
What
what-
NASCAR drivers do because they spin up the track, they actually aim at the car
Oh,
Because
because
when
it's
they
not
get-
going to be there.
because
Yeah.
they by the
Right,
time
they
they get
aim
there,
for it.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll take this opportunity at 9:10 in the morning on a beautiful November 23rd. Tom Trento, your host with Suzi Gold, Jay Mark, and Mary floating in the cloud out there, I think, to provide a little bit of automobile instruction.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
you have what's called a contact patch on your tire.
Mhm.
That's the little piece of rubber that touches the ground. And if you look at an automobile, you can actually measure it. It's only about 4 inches by 4 inches.
Mhm.
So your 4,000, your car's probably 4,300 pounds, something like that. That big thing has 4 little patches, 4 inches square, maybe 6 inches with bigger tires, keeping you from death, keeping you on the ground. And the wheels are turning, and there's a thing called physics.
Mhm.
Body in motion tends to stay in motion. So you got to slow it down with a thing called a what? What do you step on to slow the
Your
car down?
brakes.
So you need good brakes. They got to
Mhm.
work. And you need a good contact patch. You need a good
Mm.
tire. I recommend in Florida only, there's less life extent because when you increase the capability of the tire to function properly in wet weather, you decrease the number of miles that it'll go.
Mm.
But your life is more important than an extra 10,000 miles. I only recommend high performance wet weather tires in the state of Florida because it rains all the
Rains
time.
all
It's
the
always
time.
raining. And there's a world of difference. And all you need is a couple of seconds,
Mhm. Couple
quarter
of
of a second,
seconds.
a half a
Yep.
second. So you want to maximize, even on a junk car, if you got good brakes and good tires,
Mhm.
you're hedging your bets there. But you need to provide a cushion around you. You have to have this invisible cushion of making sure you got enough stopping distance and all of that.
Mhm.
So on another show, we'll go into lessons.
Yeah.
I was going to do a video once entitled "How to Stay Alive
Mhm.
on I-95."
Five.
Right?
Yeah.
Very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
I used to teach driving, and I would teach people your goal, new drivers. Your goal is to come home alive every day because they
That's
want
right.
to kill you.
That's
Everybody
right.
wants to kill you out on the road, and they try to, whether it's a truck carrying junk, and a lot of that in Florida, we don't have inspections. So I don't even know how half these cars can be on the road. They got the wheels are wobbling, and the back is wobbling, and
And
you
the
gotta get
lights
around
don't
them.
work.
So we are so happy to have Suzi Gold in one
Yeah,
piece.
and
here
I
today.
am forever
Praise the Lord.
grateful. Thank God everybody was okay, and that's the most important thing. Cars will get fixed.
So you have a script for us today?
So our script today is
The
we have
answer is no.
so much
The
to
answer is
talk
no.
about.
The answer is no. I put one together for us.
Oh, okay.
Everything's okay. You were traumatized over the weekend and
I
you couldn't pull it
was.
together. Were you traumatized?
No.
Yeah,
I was
you're tough.
grateful.
You're
Yeah.
a tough broad, as we say in
Yeah.
New Jersey. You're
I
a tough
was
broad.
grateful. And I really believe, Tom, that it was meant to be that I be there Because if it was someone else that didn't have good tires, that didn't have the quick reaction time, they would have gone right through that car and God knows what would have
Oh,
happened.
God.
But then I went around it. It's like, when something happens in a flash, I'm like, I don't know how I got around the car. I really don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank God.
God
I'm
is
grateful.
my co-pilot, right?
Yep. No, I just got back in the car.
Well, we
and kept
need God's
going.
direction for the next 43 days. 43 days. What's happening in 43 days? Anybody know?
In 43 days
election.
is going to be the election in Georgia. We're going to have this Senate runoff.
43 days. We have a couple of communists. Now we're gonna be Georgia centric on our Florida show, because the information we're going to be providing for the good folks of Georgia is relevant for Floridians, obviously. But we launched our new show this weekend. You were resting on the Sabbath, so you didn't hear it. Did you hear it, Mark? You were resting on the Sabbath too.
Sabbath.
Mark's a Christian who follows the
Well,
Sabbath.
we were here.
Yeah,
we did the
Christian.
show.
We did the show, but I actually listened to it.
Yeah, I listened
Apart from a little audio glitch, which we can clean up. Short deal. It was a good show. We introduced ourselves to the people of Georgia. We established our what you would say in Latin, our bona fides, our good fidelity, the good stuff about us. We established a 14-year track record doing what we do, and a 2-year success operation with the involvement of the Team Jexit, Christian on a Mission, Willie G, Women Impacting the Nation, Tom and Carol Hayes, and many, many others. We established all of that, and we told the folks in Georgia every Saturday, 4 to 5, we follow Dennis Prager, phenomenal Jewish scholar and thinker and communicator. We follow him on 9:20 The Answer.
9:20 a.m. The Answer. That's WGKA AM.
We broadcast out of Georgia every Saturday, and it's a one-day show because that's all we could afford right now. We're looking for donations for this 43-day campaign. Critically important.
Any of you listening that can give a donation, please. This is the time. We've got to win this.
Yep.
And to take our campaign to Georgia at 100%, we got to get Damon here. We're looking to get Damon hired. We need to raise a salary for Damon, expenses basically, to get him here. He does a tremendous amount of work, and he's critical. Plus, we can send him to Georgia with a team to be on the ground chasing down the two guys, the Reverend Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, confronting them and asking them questions about some of their positions. So, and plus we're going to be working with, we'll announce this a little later, but a good friend of ours that helped us in Michigan in 2018 produce a series of videos. So we got a lot planned. And
you know what's amazing?
What?
The Democrats raised millions and millions and millions of dollars. It's going to salaries. Who the heck knows where it goes? We're looking for $180,000. Compared to $200 million that will be spent by the Democrats in Georgia. We need $180,000.
I think that's a low figure.
Well,
it's what we need.
We could make it happen for that. And that's a full radio program, a billboard campaign, an on-the-ground campaign, a social media campaign, a newspaper campaign. This is a 100% effort to
activate activists.
I sent out an email this morning, the spiritual battle for Georgia. That's what's going on. And then you got to include an America and Israel, because if these two guys get in, Israel's going down because the balance of power is shifted in the Senate, and the Democrats will control the executive branch. There's only 3 branches of government. The executive branch, the legislative branch, the 2 houses they'll control. They don't control well, you never know, but they should not control the Supreme Court. You can do a lot of damage when you can write any law you want and get it signed by a guy that yells at the press when they ask him questions, which happened over the weekend. Well, Mary in Georgia just sent me a note. Raffy Boy, Raffensperger, the Secretary of State, she calls him Raffy Boy, just said on a Zoom meeting that he's received 762,000 absentee ballot requests already. That's a huge number. The potential for fraud increases exponentially there.
With no ID, by the way, with no validation
Well,
ID.
they say we have IDs and all this stuff, but serious problem already in Georgia. But we can hit it head on. Our big idea for today at 9:19 in the morning. Tom Trento, your host, Suzi Gold, right here, a safe and sound and secure Suzi Gold.
Yep.
The big idea is the left is exploding. Every day that the campaign continues to expose the fraud is resulting in more and more people on the left getting agitated. Trump's ruining the democracy. He's throwing everything overboard. These are people that, if I'm not mistaken, for 4 years did what? What did they do for 4 years?
Complained that the election was stolen.
By who? By whom?
By Russia, by
It was Russia collusion.
And they also were talking about the voting machines, how bad the voting machines
Yeah, it was
were.
a fix.
it was
No
a
way did
fix.
he win.
Right.
Did you notice how quickly Russian hackers, when Trump lost, supposedly,
Yeah.
they didn't do
disappeared.
anything.
Where did they go?
disappeared.
Where did they go?
There's no Russian hackers at all involved and nothing to do with it. These people are absolute frauds. They're lying, demonic frauds. They really are. The leadership in particular on the Democrat side, their heads are exploding. But why? Let's dig down a little bit. A very important point for everyone listening right now. If you're in your automobile, if you're watching, whatever, how could they watch, by the way?
Well, what they could do is, if you're not driving and if you're home,
Yeah.
go on to the unitedwest.org and you could just scroll down just a little bit and you could see us, and we're live. And there's also our former shows are also on the website. So go on the unitedwest.org and you could see us, listen to us, and you can also make a donation on the same site.
Absolutely. And why do you want to watch? Well, look at how nice you look
at
with
us.
your red top there, and I have my Vaughn shirt on.
Yeah,
today.
you always wear a shirt that's very
Something, yeah.
always
We're
appropriate.
wearing matching outfits. Didn't even know it.
And oh yeah, you have your Vaughn shirt on
Oh,
too. And guess who
yeah,
called
look
me
at
on the way to
that.
work?
Vaughn.
Billy Vaughn. Yeah.
Oh,
So I got to
they're
call him
wonderful people.
later. Wonderful people.
But getting back to your evidence thing, and stuff, the Democrats were screaming Russia collusion, and they never produced anything.
No,
They never produced anything. Now, people say, "Well, you guys haven't produced anything either." I go, "Yes, you have. You just have to look for it." I go, "It's right out there in public information." I mean, we have eyewitness testimony. All right, Tom, is this evidence or not evidence? I interview someone and they say, I saw them bringing bags and bags and bucket loads of ballots with Biden's name on them into the thing. I will swear an affidavit to it and I will testify to that I saw that happen. Is that evidence?
oh, let me think about that.
It's not enough evidence.
No, not enough.
100 votes in a bag. Who
Okay,
cares?
Tom, let me ask you, is this evidence or not evidence?
Well, this is the point. The left is so upset because there are literally hundreds of affidavits. An affidavit is a statement that somebody signs under penalty of perjury, which is a crime. It's not it's a very serious crime, depending on what level of facts you're swearing to. Very, very serious crime. There's hundreds of them. Some of them are actually public, available to the public right now. I read a couple of them.
Eight of them less.
Yeah, and but basically, you don't try your case in for CNN. Who cares about them? You try your case in court. And look, you have an allegation of voter fraud on a county level. There's a state issue because each state is responsible for their own election protocols. So you have to go to a state court. And in some of these Democrat states, they're just so twisted that you're going to get a bad decision. You plan that in to get to the district court level, the one above them, and that may even be bad. And you're eventually going to go to the Supreme Court, so you're laying out your case. And thankfully, because there's a requirement to expedite these issues because of the December 14th certification date, the states are not screwing around too much with playing the long game, just stalling.
Mm-hmm.
So they're speeding it up. They're getting it knocked down, which the Trump team understands. Then it goes to the district court. It may get a hearing there. It may not. It may be bounced back. Then everything's set up for a Supreme Court decision, where this is going to end up eventually. Some of these, and there's 100, 200 cases. Some of these are going to be in the Supreme Court. But why is the left so upset? Let's come up with a couple of answers for everyone to understand. And you know how you have the Wuhan weariness where you just, who cares? There's a weariness about what's going on right now with the average American, and it's understandable. That's not for us, though. Our job is to make sense out of all this craziness. Why is it important to continue the expose of fraud, even if the fraud isn't sufficient or we can't present the evidence in a timely manner to prove it? Why is it important to continue with this expose?
I'll tell you why.
Okay, tell us why.
Okay. So one reason is that if there is, here you have people who have come forward who have said that they saw things that were illegal, dishonest, they were asked to do things that were not with integrity, that it's our obligation to make sure that we hear them out, because that is part of the legal process of an election. If there is any chance that there was fraud or that there was manipulation, it's our obligation to follow it through and to create that, ensure that we fix the system. If there is problems with this Dominion software, if something was done overseas and in another country and votes were altered, that means that we are no longer a free and fair election, and that means that there's no integrity to their election process. So we need to fix that for today, and we need to fix that for the future. And apparently, this has been going on for a very long period of time in many elections in the United States. So when we say, you go to Venezuela, your vote doesn't count. You go to Colombia, your vote doesn't count. They know that. When Chavez got in and he won, he didn't win fair and square. They know that. So, but in this country, we always we're in a free and fair democratic country, and we thought that our votes count, and apparently they may not.
There's a constitutional law that says that under the equal protection, every American citizen should be protected equally by the law. The law should not be irresponsibly applied to one person and responsibly applied to another person, in particular when it comes to an election. Everyone should have an equal right for the protected vote. And the argument is, if people in Pennsylvania are blocking the other party from examining the signatures, then whoever was voting is not getting equal protection under the law, because somebody else isn't looking at it saying, that's a legitimate signature, or no, it's not. It should be thrown out. So the Equal Protection Act is one of the key constitutional elements that's most likely going to be argued. That's a wholesale argument. Joe Blow saw a guy bringing paper out and putting it in a shredder, which we have affidavits for that. That's a retail argument. That little event there, dump these things in here. What really happened? That's got to be investigated. It's a big investigation. A wholesale argument is the state of Pennsylvania blocked a lot of people, the observers, from properly doing their job, and that may have affected, or if there is tweaking with the Dominion software in certain locations, that's a wholesale argument because that affected the whole state. That's a big issue that most likely will go to the Supreme Court, because wholesale arguments are the ones that can flip an election, flip a state. The retail ones, 5,000 votes here, 2,000, he won by 50,000, not enough. Right. So the difference between a wholesale and retail argument, critically important for a constitutional level. But we have a kid from Pennsylvania, young kid, on his own, one of these techie guys. Yeah, we're going to show you a very short video here. Listen to it carefully. This kid said, I'm going to check out Pennsylvania's voting protocols and see what happens. At 9:28 in the morning, we're going to let you listen to this short video. And what this young guy did, he went to the Commonwealth. It's not a state. Pennsylvania is not called a state. It's called a Commonwealth. There's a problem right there with all those people. He went to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's election board, took their numbers and their data, and he examined forensically. That means as an investigator, he examined their data. Listen carefully to what he found.
The following information is straight from the pa.gov website and has almost 3.1 million entries. I exported all that information into an Excel sheet, but I was cut off at about 1 million rows, so keep in mind we're working with 1/3 of the whole data set. So the first thing I did was create a column to see if any ballots were mailed out by the government the same day that they were received, filled out through the mail by the voter.
All right. You need to explain that. Okay.
Yeah,
this is-
explain that.
This is
Explain that.
highly critical. All right. They mailed out the votes.
All right, today is the
And-
23rd of November. I'm the U.S. government. I'm the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I say, okay, let's mail out the ballots. Mail them out. Take
Mail
them to
them
the post office.
Take them to the post office, put the stamp on them, put them in the mail.
Okay.
How much, Susie, how much time would you say it takes to like get a mail ballot out to the public, out to a person? He actually opens
Like
it
to
up.
mail it and for
Just
them
mail it. He just receives it. and
mail
he's-
it. So let's say 3 days.
He gets it in his hand. It's in his mailbox. He's Johnny on the spot. He opens up his
Mhm.
mailbox. So I'd say about maybe 3 to 4 days, right?
Okay.
He opens it up, looks at it, is really quick, opens it up, checks it off, shoves it back in the mail,
Mails it back.
mails it back. That same day, he hands it right back to the postman.
Right.
How quick would that take to get back?
So at
to
least 7 days. Let's say.
7 day
3 or
turnaround.
4. Yeah.
Yeah,
5
but
days.
like warp speed, it's like 6-7 days. More likely like a week or two, right? For the whole turnaround process.
Say 5 days.
5 days.
6
Okay. All right. So here I'm going to play now. I'm gonna back it up just a little bit. I'm going to play. They mailed out the ballot. And
On the 23rd, we're making believe today's the date.
Yeah.
Mails it out on the 23rd. This is
Okay,
what
here we go.
happens.
Here's what happened.
Through the mail by the voter. Turns out about 11,000 were filled out by the voter and returned back to the government the same day the government mailed them out to the voter.
Oh, stop.
Wow, it's a miracle.
This is in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
11,000 ballots mailed out. 11 of all the ones that were mailed out, 11,000 were returned the
The
same
same
day they
day.
were mailed out.
The same day.
Okay, keep
Now,
going.
Wow.
hold on. He's only working with 1/3 of the data set. You
Right,
caught that at the beginning. Here, let's go on.
I then created a column to see if there were any applications that were approved by the government, mailed out by the government, received by the voter, and then filled out by the voter and mailed back to the government on the same day. And there were 8,205 cases of that.
Those are
And like-
applications
Those are applications.
for an absentee ballot. Would you like an absentee ballot? They were mailed out, they were received, they were filled out by the recipient, they were mailed back and received the same day.
Same day.
11, how many? 11,000?
8,000.
8,000 of those. Okay,
Right.
keep going.
Lastly, I created a column to see if there were any ballots that were received through the mail, filled out before they were even mailed out by the government.
What?
Play that one over
Oh,
again.
that's
Yeah,
a little
wait a
confusing. Hold on,
minute.
hold on. If the applications are actually filled out before before they were
They're
sent.
returned, I think he said.
Yeah,
Play it again.
that's what- maybe about
Listen
yeah.
carefully.
Were even mailed out by the government. There were 7,403 cases of that. Pause the screen to read each
Hang on,
definition
hang on.
of the
Wait,
column.
wait, wait,
105
All right,
cases
I'll
of that.
explain that.
Yeah.
And lastly, I created a column to see if there were any ballots that were received through the mail, filled out before they were even mailed out by the government. There were 7,403 cases of that.
Wait, that were mailed out before they were sent. Another
No,
miracle.
no, they were returned.
Returned.
They were
Returned
returned
before they were
before they
mailed.
were sent.
Before they
7,000.
miracles in Pennsylvania.
So here, play the
7,000.
last part of this. Hold on.
Pause the screen to read each definition of the columns. If anyone's able to make sense of these numbers without saying it's fraud, please let me know in the comments.
I like this kid. Let's get him on the
I
show.
know he did a series of these. He followed up, but here's the deal: Joe Biden is we know he's
Now,
got
is
all
that
kinds of.
wholesale evidence or is that retail evidence?
That's retail, because those are little situations that
But if it's on
occur.
a wholesale scale throughout the state through their database system, that's a wholesale.
That's
argument.
going to be a wholesale, and once he gets to 3 million, the 3 million that were mailed out. The Joe Biden is a complete fraud, because when you see this, you got to go to Pennsylvania. Now you got to investigate this stuff. This is what the Trump lawyers and Sidney Powell, who is separated from the Trump team, we're going to get into that. This is what they're doing. What does this mean? Now, Mark, what do you think the state is going to say when you say, how did you mail out and receive stuff the same day, or how'd you
Oh,
actually
it's an IT
get stuff
error.
before?
Someone put the wrong date in. It's just a clerical error. Someone put the wrong date in, and it just auto-populated the rest of the field. It's really not a real field. It's just kind of like a holder
So
field.
they will admit that The data on our website, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the data on our website actually says that we mailed out and received absentee ballots the same day. They'll admit that the data shows that, but they're going to say it was a computer glitch.
Well, it's
putting the
a
wrong
user
date.
error, user operator error.
Operator error.
It's just an auto-populated field. We don't. They really don't field in. It's just kind of like a placeholder.
Now, should the people who are running for office in that state be concerned that this is happening?
Well, you would think they would be. There's got to be something, a legitimate reason, not just dismiss it.
What about Joe Biden? Here's where he's a fraud. Now, this is one tiny little example of the irregularities, fraud, whatever you want to call it at this point, that is popping up all over the place, particularly in these 6 or 7 key swing states. Joe Biden should say, whoa, if I'm the duly elected president in a fair election, then I am. If I'm not, I'm not. But slow down. We'll make the transition. We'll get all the information we need. We got to solve this problem. This is crazy stuff. It may have gone against us. It may have worked for us. Who knows? But we can't let this go on. The reason why the left's head is exploding, and this is our big idea right now. We want to establish the point for all our listeners and viewers. The left, the Democrats on the left, the fake news media, they're all morally righteous indignation that Trump is destroying democracy, because they know the further and further and further we dig into this, the more and more and more actual fraud is going to be discovered. What's the implication of that? It's going to be a bogus election for Joe Biden if he wins. 74 million of us are going to go, all right, the clock ran out. We couldn't prove it in time, but there's so much indication of fraud that we can't accept this guy. Yeah, he's the president, all that, but we're going to work as much as we can, as hard as we can to disrupt, disable, destroy the operation of an evil administration. And that's what we're going to be doing here for the next 2 years if he wins, 4 years.
And that truly then would win illegally. Forget about what happened 4 years ago with Donald Trump, that they made up all these stories. This is really legitimate evidence. Imagine if it was the other way around.
Oh,
Right.
Imagine.
The fake Russia thing was completely fake. Millions of dollars, special counsel, special hearings, special this. Every day they harass
And
Donald
prove
Trump.
nothing.
We're saying you're disrupting democracy. Let the guy do his job. No. He's illegal. He's all of this. He still had more impact in light of all of that than any president in recent history, any president whatsoever. Unbelievable. 9:36 in the morning. What do you guys think?
It was stolen.
Oh, well, we can't hear from them, can we? That's okay. We'll tell you what we think. That's the important thing. We love you out there. All right, I got a lot of stuff here. I got a couple of jokes for you. Ready for these jokes?
Oh, good. We need a joke.
These are pretty good jokes. Here's the
We need
first one.
some good jokes.
The difference between 1980 and 2020. I have pictures, but I'll just explain it. I'll develop the picture in your mind.
Okay.
Picture 1980, a little skinny guy working on a computer. How big were the monitors in 1980?
Oh, they were huge.
They were like this.
Oh, I
And
installed many of them. I know
really
exactly how big they were.
Carry
And they were heavy. And they were heavy,
Yeah,
like 50 pounds.
You know,
The NEC monitors. Yeah.
gigantic
With
thing.
a little teeny screen.
Yeah.
And then the cartoon has a split screen on the right. It's 2020. You see the same guy. He's aged, 40 years, I guess?
That'd be me.
40 years. He's a big fat slob. His belly's hanging out. And he's typing on a little tiny Mac computer, right? With a little tiny screen. He grew and the computer shrunk.
That's me.
And back then,
That's
the
me.
computer was gigantic and he was a little skinny guy.
That would be me.
That's I saw pictures of you years ago. Then this one's pretty good. The Wizard of Oz. This just in, NBC's now pulling the Wizard of Oz because it is offensive to people without brains.
That is very
Isn't that good?
If
offensive.
I only had a brain.
That
Isn't
people
that
have
good?
straw. What do we have against the people that have straw?
Offensive. And here's a modern day one. A lovely couple sitting on a park bench. Both have masks on. And the gentleman leans over in sort of a romantic way to the woman and says, please, can I see your nose? And she says, not until we're married. That one was pretty good.
That's cute.
Then there's a guy in, what is this? In 1996, he's laying on the beach. He's got these paisley, really artistic bathing suit on, and he's like just white. His skin is white. And then in 2020, same guy's laying on the beach. He's got a white bathing suit, and his skin is all tattooed with paisley tattoos and just totally tatted out.
The sleeves of tattoo.
And then there's this one. I like this one. I found $20. You ready for this?
Mm.
I found $20 in a parking lot and thought to myself, what would Jesus do? That's a good Christian.
Yeah.
What would Jesus do? So the guy says, so I turned it into wine. That's pretty good.
That's
Couple
cute.
of jokes for a
That's
crazy morning. Do you like
cute.
those?
For
Those are
Monday
pretty good.
morning.
Monday morning.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm glad you did that, because through all of this news, and it can be kind of heavy, we have to remember to laugh. Remember to laugh, enjoy life, and make sure that we spend time with our families, and especially here it is Thanksgiving, and, to do the things that are everyday things that we love to do. And you know what? We should stay involved, and we should be knowledgeable, but don't make it heavy in your life, because life is too short.
All right. Well, let's then go from the sublime to the ridiculous. Here's another joke, but this is a joke on the people of Georgia. The people of America, on the joke on the people of America and the people of Israel. And these are the areas in which we operate. And we're focusing in on Georgia. 2 years ago, we had a very powerful campaign to stop Andrew Gillum, a doctrinaire Marxist, and to get Ron DeSantis elected. And we were very successful in doing that. We have a pretty good track record.
God. We
here.
love Ron DeSantis.
Well, he had a fellow traveler a little bit north of where we are, up in Georgia. She was running for governor. What was her name? Do you remember her name?
Stacey Abrams.
Stacey Abrams was running for governor. And she and Gillum were basically both from the doctrinaire Marxist side of the political philosophical ledger. And we discovered something. And we made a little video, 2-minute video. We're going to play it right now. Now, this is circa 2018, about a week or so before the election. And we found this out. We exposed it on Gillum's side and Stacey Abrams' side. And listen very carefully to what we did back then.
Wait. Keep filling.
And what we did back then was expose Stacey Abrams and Andrew Gillum and the way they believed. I have maintained as a Christian apologist that the way you think, your worldview, the way you view the world, the way you think determines how you live and how you act. So you can judge a person's political policies by their political philosophy. And do we have Stacey's political philosophy?
Here we go.
Hey, Tom here with another provocative 2-minute video so that individuals can vote intelligently on November 6th. And what we try to do is to grab the viewer so that we can get your attention and then provide information to enable you to vote intelligently. Along those lines, if I were to tell you something like the Communist Party USA endorses President Trump, you'd go, that sounds crazy. But if I were to tell you that the Communist Party USA endorses Socialist Democrat running for governor in the state of Florida, Andrew Gillum, you'd go, what? That's true, folks. Stacey Abrams running for governor on the Democrat ticket in Georgia, also endorsed by the Communist Party USA. Now, these communists are real-life communists. They don't endorse all the left or all the Democrats. They have a select group of people. And both Stacey Abrams, Georgia, and Andrew Gillum in Florida have been endorsed because they follow the political platform of the Communist Party. Listen to this. In our Political Action Commission and National Board, we've reviewed competitive races, communists talking, in states where we have Communist Party presence in order to determine how best to effectively deploy our resources with the interconnected goals of contributing to the election and strengthening our party and the people's world. So they chose both Georgia and Florida to support Stacey Abrams, Andrew Gillum. The communists are supporting these people for governor. What more do you need to vote intelligently? How intelligent is it to vote for communists today? Please, on November 6th, blow the communists out, vote intelligently.
Isn't it incredible, Mark? I mean, this is unbelievable that, first of all, we did, and as through the United West, we did such a great job in educating the public to understand that this wasn't just a made up idea, but they truly, all of these, those that were listed there, including Stacey Abrams and Gillum, that here they are communists. They came out and they said that they are communists. Everybody they associate with, everybody they affiliate are communists. So I'm wondering, do American people think they're joking when they say that? Or that it's not such a bad thing? Like, what do you think people are thinking?
Well, and here's the thing. We did this back in 2016.
Yes.
Okay. This is a video from 2016.
Yes.
And I'm putting on the screen here.
And here we are, though. We're still having this conversation. And some of those people did get elected. Thank God that we didn't end up with Gillum in Florida.
I have a co-host. Thank God.
Thank God.
Now, look at these are the people, the Constitution.
I'm glad you feel better.
Stacey Abrams, Andrew Gillum, Ben Jealous, David Garcia. Keep going down the list. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah, and there she is.
Diana Presley. That's the squad.
The bartender.
Wow, look at our studio back there.
Yeah.
The bartender, and she's, they have a new song. Did you hear the song about the new Green Deal? They have a rap song that is the silliest, embarrassing.
Elon Omar.
Oh my God.
Rush.
Yes, communists.
Hey,
Keith Ellison.
For the listening audience, we're watching a video right now, and we're naming those names because they're on our video. And they were really endorsed by the Communist Party.
This is not the fake Communist Party.
Should be appalled.
Hold on. This is like the ones who support Putin.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
They all, once again, going back to our narrative, everything they accuse us of, they are doing. Everything that they accuse us of, they are doing.
Did you know that China is telling America now how to handle this situation with the election? China's telling us. What the heck?
They love Biden. They
love Biden, of course.
All right, so what have we established at 9:46 in the morning?
That these guys are communists.
Stacey Abrams is doctrinaire. When we use the term doctrinaire, the political doctrines that she has ingrained in her thinking and her heart more align with Karl Marx than George Washington. Mm-hmm. It's very, very, very important. When Barack Obama said, I'm going to fundamentally change America, he laid the groundwork.
He said it.
Yeah, he laid the groundwork. Donald Trump threw a monkey wrench into that whole swing to the left. And now it looks like the fraud that's been perpetrated will result in the left gaining momentary control. And now you'll see. This is the battle in Georgia between communism and a constitutional republic. That's simple.
And let me back this up and make it.
It's night and day.
Let me back this up and make this real simple for people. You see this guy here?
He bad boy. He's very bad.
Stephen Phillips is on the screen right now.
And
he's a multi-billionaire.
And this is him.
No, he is not a multi-billionaire.
His wife. His wife is
he married a Jewish woman, and her daddy is a multi-billionaire.
He's a multi-billionaire.
We'll get that.
Very liberal.
To his daughter and Stephen, here, go change the world. Here's some money.
While they're living high on the horse. I don't understand. Can you explain something to me? What's their vision? They're
I'm
like
showing it to you.
elite.
I'm showing it to you right here.
No, let her ask the
Well,
question,
the
because a lot
question
of people
is,
are
like, I
asking
don't
that.
understand this. You have, okay, we have all these people with all this money, not just money, but money. And they're what, the elites? And what do they see? That we're going to be the peasants? We're the serfdom? Like we work for them? I don't understand. What's their ultimate goal? And how much money does a person need? They have enough money that they could support a country. So what's their ultimate goal? What do
it's-
they
he
want?
says
No,
it right
Mark
here.
has their ultimate goal.
It's really exciting. These are Stephen Phillips' words, the guy who is funding Stacey Abrams, all the people, Barack Obama. It's really exciting to see the principles of Marxism/Leninism being successful and making a difference.
What kind of difference?
Wait, let me read that again. I mean, that we have up on the screen. We did a lot of work on this, and again, in the next 43 days, we're going to be exposing the communist roots to the movement. Stacey Abrams, who's hand-selected the two Democrats running against the two Republicans. The two Republicans are Kelly Loeffler. She's the blonde woman.
Mm-hmm.
White privilege, blonde woman. That's what they're screaming in Georgia. And David Perdue, white privilege, white guy, running against Raphael Warnock, the Reverend Phony Baloney.
Remember,
Reverend.
Warnock sounds like Warlock.
Warlock,
Similar.
Yeah. He's running against Kelly Loeffler.
Bad.
And John Ossoff, the 33-year-old trust fund baby.
Bad.
He's running against David Perdue. And those two, John Ossoff and Reverend Warnock, are handpicked by Stacey Abrams. So they got to agree with her political philosophy.
Communists.
She hates Israel. She hates America. I mean, it's obvious. But
And
Stephen Phillips wrote this. This is very,
and
very
he handpicked
important.
Stacey Abrams. Okay, this is the money guy.
And he says it takes a Marxist-Leninist perspective. Interesting. He puts Marx and Lenin together. A Marxist-Leninist perspective. It's really exciting to see the principles of Marxism, Leninism being successful and making a difference. 1985, Stephen Phillips.
South
Now,
That could be so good. 300 million people were killed in those regimes.
let me ask Mark a question.
Uh-huh.
Since 1985, has Stephen Phillips repudiated
No,
that statement
he's
or
actually
that
doubled
view?
down on it. In fact, he said that made that statement. You know how it was a Marxist-Leninist perspective and everything?
Yeah.
Because the magazine said right on it, it is a Marxist-Leninist magazine.
I'm reading the magazine cover that Stephen Phillips was involved with
Peace,
in
equity,
1985. Stephen Phillips, the intellectual architect for this brown is the new white. That means you take the old white Republicans who are dying off, you bring in brown people, people of color, Asians, queers, LGBT, their terms, all of these people. You bring this rainbow coalition. Ever hear that before?
Oh, I wonder where that came from.
Yeah, one of that. You bring all these people in, and if you look at the demographics of the United States of America and his book, it's right over here, Stephen Phillips's book,
Brown
it
is
says that there are 51% of the population
we get I got that.
now falls in the brown category,
That's
which
his
is
book.
the new white. There's the book on the screen. And 47% are on the other side.
There it is.
Therefore, and there's the breakdown on the screen. Therefore, it's a matter of voter turnout. We will win, Stephen Phillips talking. We will win every election from now until kingdom come if we turn our people out. How do you turn your people out? One of two ways. You turn them out or you tweak the machines. Either way,
Yeah.
get enough votes. Stacey Abrams has led a movement that 762,000 absentee ballots where you can play games with those have already been requested in Georgia. And in the article that I connected to in Breitbart, where she is pouring $2.7 million, she just raised 2.7. It's going to 13 different organizations, all hardcore leftist organizations, to get out door to door and get the vote out that way. Massive campaign going on right now, led by doctrinaire Marxists in the great state of Georgia. Unbelievable.
Just to let you know, I don't know how deep you want to go into this, because
We got a couple of minutes left. We
Okay,
have
he goes-
43
I didn't
days.
get my question answered. What beautiful utopia do they believe will exist with all of these people with their billions
Cuba
of dollars?
is a prime example. Fidel Castro. That's how they picture their world. They
So we're going to be what? What
Cuba.
are we? So we're going to be the peons. We're going to be standing in line for food.
Picture
We're not
Cu-
going to get medicine. There's not going to be hospitals.
Picture-
We can't go to school.
Cuba and Venezuela. Picture those two countries. That's what they want
And
America
that's
to be.
great, right?
That's what they want to be.
That's great.
In fairness to the utopians and our friend Joel Gilbert, we need to bring him on. He did a great documentary on utopia, on answering your question. The Marxist idea is that if you take God out of the equation and you put the state there, then the reverence that every individual has to God, the reverence you have, the reverence we have to God, that's a beautiful thing. It's just misplaced. If we're placed in the state, then we would say, the state is our heavenly Father and our provider. Once that allegiance is there, where do we read about allegiance to the New World Order? Remember Lori Lightfoot said that?
Yeah.
Same concept. Once you pledge allegiance to the state, now the state can turn around and direct your life. First thing, now if this were perfect communism being implemented overnight, the dissolving of all private property. Because if you own property, you have something someone else doesn't. If no one owns property but the state, then you're equal. Nobody else says, I got a bigger house than you. And when you tell me you have a nicer car, you have a nicer car to me. There's animosity and enmity on my part. I get a little upset. Why do you have a nicer car? Well, in a perfect communism society,
Everybody
the
has
state
the
provides
same.
a car, usually a Lakta from Russia, and they run for about 2 miles and they fall apart. The state provides transportation. You got to eat food. Oh, you dine at nice restaurants. You don't do that anymore. The state provides your food.
Okay, so where does Steve Harvey, does he live like that too?
Steve Phillips.
And does Zuckerberg,
Steve Harvey's living a good life.
Is
Steve
he
Phillips.
gonna live?
Steve Phillips.
I mean, Steve Phillips.
No, but
And how about Zuckerberg?
All right,
and
let me answer that real
Gates? Are
fast.
they gonna have the same car
Let's
as
look
us?
at China. China has 1.4 billion people. 100 million people are members of the Communist Party. 90,000 of 1.4 billion are the ruling elite of the Communist Party, because they are assuming that great responsibility, they live at a higher level. But if you pledge allegiance to them, you want them to live at a higher level because my leaders are living a great life. And if you can work your way up in the Communist Party, you can be there someday.
And there's two ways you can look at this. Two analogies to like give their ideal system. One is the Star Trek type of analogy where one man, everybody works for the same cause, no money, no anything. Other way to look at it is from a military system. The whole world, the whole country is a military system where only a few elite make the decisions and everybody else has to follow.
And if you pledge allegiance to the state,
you
that's
pledge
what
allegiance.
you want.
That's what
So
you
when
want.
Obama says we're going to level the playing
30
field,
seconds.
That's what this is.
and when he said that we're going to fundamentally change America, that's what he's
We're
talking
moving in that.
about.
Why do you think he popped his head back up?
I
and he's all over the
know.
place. All right. That's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow. We got
This
a lot
was
of
a
stuff tomorrow.
great
too.
show.
Yeah,
I
it's fun.
learned
Yeah,
so
stuff
much.
is
Can we
good.
do this
But we're
again?
going more and more about the Stephen Phillips stuff, you know.
Oh, we got so much stuff for you.
And,
We need more jokes.
Georgia.
too.
Yeah,
We're coming, baby. Hang in there.
and exactly.
Goodbye. See you tomorrow.
See
Bye,
you later.
everybody. Have a great
Bye-bye.
day.